Welcome to the Heartbeat Podcast, a Hometown Media Stettler production, and it's live on YouTube and Facebook, and of course it'll be uploaded to Spotify afterward. Start the show a little bit differently with Josh, the producer, as well music director for Heartland Radio Stettler. How's it going today, Josh?
Living the dream. Yourself, Alex?
Yeah, the same. And
Good.
You were at grad, and first off, I want to say congrats to all the 2026 graduates. You know, life starts now.
Yeah, it sure does.
So
congratulations to all of them.
Definitely. And so you took part in Safe Grad. You were DJing as well.
Yep.
So how was the whole day from the ceremony all the way up to the party?
Well, my day started by getting up and getting right over to Red Deer and picking up my rentals from Long and McQuaid and Red Deer, and then coming back into town and dropping off some flowers and a corsage because my lady was graduating this year as well. So
congrats to Autumn there.
Congratulations to Autumn. And went into the ceremony, got in there right around 2 o'clock, and the line was already all the way down the parking lot. It was filled right up, and it was raining out too, so I'm sure that there were some pretty cranky people out there. But
yeah, the weather wasn't the best.
Yeah, there was a lot of grads that I had talked to that said that they were pretty upset that they got rained out. They couldn't go get their Memorial Park photos and all of that stuff.
True enough, without wearing a poncho.
Yeah,
anyway.
Exactly. And wrecking the dresses. So, yeah, but big class this year. 140 kids, which, you know, for Stettler standards is, I think my class was probably 120.
Okay.
Maybe 115, something like that. And that's kind of the average. So
yeah,
there was a few extras, and I'd say that about 2/3 of them were women. Like the ratio from men to women was weighed pretty heavily towards the women.
It's an interesting observation.
Yeah. Well, you see 2 full rows of all the women and all the dresses, and then you get 1 row at the back of all the guys.
Right.
Yeah. But
or maybe you're just noticing the women.
No, I don't think so. If you go look at the live stream.
Fair enough.
The live stream's up on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where. I tried to find it yesterday. But
but yeah, no, they do a great job live streaming the ceremony too.
Yeah, that's Dave Morris, and he had Stefan Olofsson running the stream and the camera switching, and
it's cool.
Then they get the kids to come and volunteer, and they're running the cameras themselves, and Joe Melnick was mixing the sound in the building.
Well, especially because we do all sorts of live streaming, obviously.
Yeah.
Here, it's cool to see them get in that trade, and maybe they can come, work with us one day too.
Absolutely.
And we can use their expertise with the live streaming, because I'm watching it and there's some things I'm learning, that I'd like to learn. Like, how did they do that? And how did they do this kind of thing?
Absolutely. So. Well, I think a lot of that comes down to they've got a piece of gear called the Stream Deck, and takes in all their camera inputs, and it's a fully self-contained system that'll stream to YouTube, Facebook, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's kind of like just like hotkeys, like a bunch of hotkeys, right?
Pretty much, yeah. And it's a pretty cool little piece of machinery, but they've been using that for all their live streams for about 3 years now. Yeah. So good investment on their part, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely something for us to maybe look into in the future.
Definitely.
But so they do a great job with that. Any highlights that you can think of as far as the ceremony or even like the graduation Safe Grad part?
Well, I've got 3 that I really, really liked was the class history by Ebony Rosine, Annika Siemens, and Rowan Snodgrass. They got Ebony she went to the Erskine School for quite a few years, I believe. Annika was from the Donelda School, so she got that part of it. And then Rowan came to the Stettler School in grade 4, I think he said. And then the tribute to the parents was really, really nice. That was done by Kyler Cornelson. And then the reply from her parents, Wayne and Krista Cornelson. That was really, really beautiful. And then, of course, my biggest highlight was watching Autumn and her friend Maddie perform. They did Vienna by Billy Joel. Nice. And they absolutely crushed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if you're watching the show right now and you want to see what was going on at the grad and those highlights that Josh mentioned, just go to the live stream and check it all out. So fast forward to the Safe Grad where you were DJing and everyone just had a good time and everyone was safe, as the name states, and everything was good.
They partied hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran out there right after, and shout out to Jamie Nixon, my cousin. I came and stole him at the grad ceremony. I was like, hey, you want to come give me a hand? And so I brought him out with me, and he came and helped me set up all of my gear and everything. And then party started at 9, and we went right till 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had some late nights over the weekend, hey?
Yeah, sure have.
Right on. Well, thanks, Josh, for joining me. And
Of course.
great to hear that it was, in fact, a great celebration and a safe graduation, too.
Sure was.
We'll be right back with Landin Chambers and Scot Leys, the superintendent for Clearview Public School Division.
All right, well, we're back on the Heartbeat. Landin Chambers here with Scot Leys. How's it going today, Scott?
It's going really well, thanks.
Yeah, always an exciting time of year for the kids heading out into the world after 12 years in school. I do hope everyone had a safe weekend. Sounds like good times were had. Just want to say, how did 2025-26 go across the division for you guys?
You know, it's been a busy year. I think it's been a really strong year for Clearview. You know, challenges throughout the year. It didn't start out the way maybe we would have liked, with some stress and pressure around the strike coming up and then going into that. But talking to teachers when they came back from that, just excited to be back in classrooms, excited to be working with their kids. And, when we take a look across the division, I think we can really see the commitment that our staff have for education, have for this region. They've done some really good work with our students around literacy, numeracy. There's a ton going on in education right now, and just proud of the staff and the students and everything they've done. So, while we started off maybe a little bit bumpy, I think we finished strong. I think we've had some really good things going on in the division, planning for next year, doing some staff turnover and things like that. But overall, really pleased with what's occurred in Clearview this year.
Yeah, I guess a lot of these kids have already faced a lot of disruption just with COVID. I think that teacher strike, a lot of parents were afraid of what that was going to do, but I think a lot of the community stepped up. I know the library was trying to help out during the teacher strike. Maybe just talk a little bit about that there.
Yeah, I'd say the the support was really good. In terms of there's programming, the Boys and Girls Club, Heartland Youth put some programming together as well. The library, as you mentioned, just really stepping up to fill some of the gaps that, maybe parents had or that kids had during that time. And just really, I think we're super respectful of staff and the decisions. When you're part of a larger organization like our teachers are, you don't sort of get the say that you might want in some of the decisions being made. But I thought our community really supported that group, and it felt really good when they came back into the building.
Just talk a little bit about how things are going this time of year with exams and that.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year. Exams are wrapping up at this point, but we know our kids have been working really hard around that stuff. Planning, prepping, preparing for finals, getting their last minute assignments into teachers and those things. The message you try to give to staff and kids is just keep it simple, stick to your routines. This time of year, sometimes it feels like you're hanging on by your fingernails. And the more you lean into that feeling, the more chaotic it becomes sometimes. So it's really stick to what you know, stick to what you've been doing for 12 months or 10 months of school, and things will probably go well. This time of year, it's about, I would say it's about really finding a positive way for kids to move into the summer, right? This end strong, and make sure that the year end goes really well.
So how's preparation going for the upcoming school year there?
Well, in a school division, September starts for us usually end of January, where we start looking into what's coming up, what's the plan for next year, building professional development plans for teachers, building schedules, looking at budgets, those types of things. I'd say we're putting the final touches on everything operationally and educationally. You have two sort of areas that you want to plan for when you look at the next school year. That number one is the operations, so staffing, your buildings, what work are you going to do over the summers, and that all happens I would say starting, like I said, beginning of January or end of January in through up until now. And then educationally, you're sort of looking at what new curriculums do we have to implement? How do we support teachers? What do we put in place for professional development and those types of things? We've got, I think, in terms of staffing, we only need 2 more teachers right now. I think those will probably get wrapped up this week. We should be fully staffed. There's been some change in the division around Stettler and other schools where administrators have moved in and out, and we've had to do some hiring in those areas. But really happy with the individuals we've been able to recruit, and I think we're in a good spot for the fall.
What are some of the issues the Board of Trustees have been looking at since the election, things like enrollment numbers and that?
Yeah, small school sustainability has really been one of the big things the board has been tackling, doing a lot of advocacy work with the government, speaking to the Minister of Education, speaking to our MLA, Nate Horner, talking to them around what does funding or what should funding look like when our schools start to get smaller in our tiny rural communities. Those schools are the hub of those little communities, and when you start to pull those apart or lose those things, you lose a community. And so that's been a big piece of the work the board has done. Budget pressures, costs keep going up. So there's always taking a look at those types of things. And when you're in a declining enrollment type situation, like I think most of rural Alberta is, the dollars don't come in necessarily to the levels you might need to keep staff and programming the way you want. And so you have to really battle through and think, what's the best programming we can manage? How do we use these funds in a really good sense? And so I'd say those are the big things. Transportation is another big one. Government changed some rules around who can be funded and distances in town, moving from 1.6 kilometer or 1.0 kilometers to 1.6. So some pressures there around who can ride buses and what the costs of those things are.
Yeah, I guess just looking at the board's recent operating budget, $41.4 million, $988,000 planned in capital investments. The highlights from the board meeting note the purchase of a new school and roof replacement at Coronation School. So obviously there's always these kind of things that the board has to be planning for, correct?
Yeah, the pressure with aging facilities, which is what we have for the most part, is that the costs aren't optional, right? Roofs still have to be paid for. Boilers still have to be paid for. Your funding doesn't necessarily meet all of the needs that you might have in a small rural aging facility. And so how do you balance the pieces around that? How do you make sure that you're targeting the right areas this year? What can you put off till next year? So there's some challenges always. I think our maintenance department, shout out to them. They do a fantastic job with really digging into, what do we need to do this year? What can last until next year? How do we spend our dollars really well? I really, really am proud of the work that team does around our facilities and making sure they're in great shape. If you walk into our buildings, they look good. Like there's lots of work being done around those pieces. We've done some outside work. But it is balancing the dollars that you have with the needs, right? That's the big challenge that we find right now.
And it's quite a large division, too. You guys stretch across 2 counties, being Stettler County and Paintearth. So I think sometimes it's just a matter of realizing how large of an area you have to cover for education.
Yeah, we're an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half across from one end to the other end. And, trying to, in a crisis situation, you're sending somebody an hour away maybe to manage things, trying to be on top of the pieces. Our principals and our staff do a good job of reporting and getting information to our maintenance team around those things. But always a bit of a challenge when you're that big, right? And spread out across that area.
So we've touched a bit on the enrollment issue. The board had scheduled a special meeting for June 15th regarding Buy More. Can you just tell me what's going on with grades 7 to 9 programming there?
So there was we had looked into some programming changes just based on funding enrollment. And when you hit that sort of 35 threshold, division loses around $260,000 in funding just based on the number of students. And so in Buy More, we were doing some program review. We were going to do some work around the 7 to 9 to see if it was feasible to maintain that. The board has pushed that review off for a year, so we can get a bigger picture or better picture of all of the data around enrollment, what transportation might look like, what costs will be. So 7 to 9 will remain the same next year out in Bymore. We have had to make the decision to decrease by one staff member just as a cost-cutting measure. So we're working with them around that to try and make sure, how do we put good programming in place? How do we make sure that the teachers have the resources they need, the time they need to do planning, but still make sure that the quality of education our kids are receiving out there is top-notch, that we're providing them everything they need to know so when they get into William E. Hay, they're at that same level. And so programming will remain very similar next year. We'll do a full review around that piece. We are currently looking into a 4-day week in Bymore, and so been gathering data around that, feedback from the parents, feedback from the community. Brownfield has been doing it for probably 20 some years, and so we've gathered some data from them around how they feel that, so we can give that data to our Bymore community as well. And so that'll come up at the board meeting this Thursday around whether we switch from a 5-day to a 4-day week.
No, good to hear you guys are looking at many different options on how we can address this issue. I did want to ask, how are plans progressing for a renovation of the Stettler School complex? Or I know that plans have been looked at for a new elementary school. So where are we at on that?
So we're continue to advocate with that. The town is partnering with us on that. So we're doing some recent work. We're doing a full cost analysis or a formal cost analysis on replacement of the HVAC system and mechanical systems. The building is that piece or that part of the building's close to 60 years old, and so we're maintaining it, we're keeping it alive. But the reality is that we're at a point now where we need the government to come through and really do some work around this. And to us, that means a new facility. HVAC systems, even the modern classroom styles and spaces, we just don't have those in the complex, especially in the elementary wing, which hasn't been renovated, I think, since the early 90s, late 80s, somewhere in there. And so continuing to advocate, we're putting together some supplemental packages for the government. We're going to write a letter here recently once we get our formal analysis on our costing to the Minister of Infrastructure. So continuing to work on that, continuing to battle for that piece. One of the challenges in rural Alberta, the government does about 5 to 7 new builds per year in rural Alberta. And unfortunately for us, rural Alberta includes places like Grand Prairie, Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Fort McMurray, places we might not consider rural. So there's a challenge to that for sure, but we're continuing to put together the right information and advocate for that work.
No, and often, as you say, there's scoring matrices for renovating these buildings, and I know for the Stettler School complex that's been an issue because when you take the entire complex, it's not in that bad of shape. Yeah. But there's parts of this building, like you said, that 60 years old and do need work. If they were standalone, they probably would qualify for, I think, provincial new builds and that, right?
Yeah, I would say, especially with the junior senior high, there's been a lot of work and renovations done in that area. So it looks really great inside. The difficulty is that it used to be 3 schools, but one infrastructure in sort of that HVAC world. And so, to try and rip that apart now is complicated without redoing the majority of that building. So looking to really rebuild a brand new elementary and then mostly replace the high school as well. Try to keep the PAC, or we'll keep the PAC and the CTS wings.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something we're going to keep tabs on here in the coming weeks and months and years. So I did just want to ask, was there anything else you wanted to touch on? We didn't heading into the summer there.
I think if we can ask our parents to fill out their transportation and returning student forms, that's probably a practical piece they can do for us. Helps us with our planning for class sizes, transportation, enrollment, all of those things. And then, I think enjoy your summer, be safe, and we can't wait to see everybody back in the fall.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming in today, Scott. And
you bet. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Enjoy your summer there.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
All right, we're back on the Heartbeat again, live on Facebook and on YouTube. Thanks again for Scott for coming in today and shedding a lot of insight on the year at the school division and some upcoming things as well.
No, lots going on there. And as right off the bat, just talking about the teacher strike was something, again, just another hurdle teachers and parents and students have had to deal with this last year, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, there was a lot to learn there, and we hope that when we clip it out and get all of the information out there on Facebook, that many of you will tune in and catch what Scott had to say. A lot of rain in the forecast recently. It's kind of over right now as the sun has come out. We're in the basement here. We're kind of in a cave, so I don't really know what the weather's like outside.
No windows.
Yeah, but according to our little graphic in the top left of the screen there, it looks like there is a mix of sun and cloud today, maybe a chance of showers, but nothing like we've seen in the last few days.
No, good to have the rain. I guess you could call it basement flooding season. Haven't heard of too many issues locally, but, you look north to Edmonton, many such cases over the weekend as their stormwater systems came under pressure. A few roads were seeing overland flooding I was seeing in Tofield and Beaumont, but today things are looking up. Not seeing too many warnings out there. But
Except the potholes are back.
Yeah, that's going to come with the rain, isn't it?
They tried to fill a few on the highway there by the hospital and by Hackers and that road to BP, that area, and they're back. The filling, whatever they put in the potholes, is now back out of the potholes and just on the road.
Oh, shoot.
So again, we're swerving around those potholes.
You can really tell who's a local in town by...
You can. The ones that are really swerving. Yeah, I saw one comment online that was like, I'm not drinking and driving. Don't worry, I'm just swerving around potholes.
Trying to save those tires.
It's another province-wide issue, though, isn't it? In Fort McMurray, the people themselves, they were fed up with the roads and the potholes that they took it upon themselves to contract a company and have them come in and fix the potholes.
That's what it's come to, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when they're bad, they can really do damage on your vehicles.
Oh, to
Right?
basically everything on the underside of your vehicle, right?
Yeah,
So-
like we live right on the highway there by Fast Gas, and the amount of times I hear the big trucks and the trailers and stuff go through those potholes, I'm like, ooh, I wince every time. I'm like, that can't be good for your axle. You know what I mean?
Pretty sure the one by your place is hard to avoid, too.
Yeah, that one's hard to avoid. Yeah, and we've called the town, but again, they can't do anything because it's province. It's a province issue because it's on the highway.
There you go.
Right? Same issue that we needed lights by the Tim Hortons there for years, but couldn't do anything because it's a province issue. Thankfully, they did that. But so if you are driving along the highway on that road, just swerve and try to avoid as many of those potholes as possible. But it's something the rain has kind of contributed to the issue.
Oh, definitely. And we don't usually see this much moisture in the spring, but we need it because I don't want to be reporting on fires this summer.
True enough. And another thing that it might probably delay is the Main Street construction here over in front of the old Jewel Theater.
Yeah, that is quite, some would say it's an eyesore, but it's necessary work. You got to do this water main work along 50th Ave, but, the Board of Trade's holding the draw for locals who shop at businesses. It's $500 in Heart of Alberta dollars, but no word yet on when that work's going to wrap up. But as we mentioned on a previous podcast, they are set for work further down the road on 50th Ave in front of the high school, but we'll see if that gets pushed into next year there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the rain and everything, we'll see if that affected things.
Mm-hmm.
Some stories from Town and County Council Landin, a new fire truck for Heartland Regional Fire, and the town of Stettler looking for a developer for a plot of land in North Stettler.
Yeah, the firefighters in Big Valley, they're set to receive a new fire engine this fall following a major investment from the County of Stettler. At the end of May there, Council approved an $841,000 purchase for a brush rapid attack truck. These are the ones you see out overland vehicles fighting wildfires and that. That vehicle set for delivery in November. That'll trigger a fleet reorganization around the Heartland regional fire stations. That'll move Big Valley's current pumper to Denalda. Denalda's GMC truck would move to Bymore, and then Bymore would sell their GMC truck.
And since we're on the topic of Heartland Regional Fire, I just wanted to say congrats to everyone that climbed the Brookfield Place in Calgary to raise money and support for the Wellspring Alberta organization. They're an organization that supports people with cancer through programs and things like that. And on the last podcast, we had Tony in and Steve from Heartland Regional Fire, and they climbed all the way to the top of Brookfield Place in Calgary, the tallest building as well. The team, in which they call Skeleton Crew, raised over $16,000 for that foundation.
No, for a local fundraising effort, that is a very big number. So.
And there was about 9 of them, 9 or 10 that went up to the top, and they all made it up there.
No, congratulations to those guys and gals there that took part. I don't think I would make it up in 13 minutes, I believe I saw was their time. So
yeah, very impressive. And now they're going to have a fancy new truck to work with.
yeah, hoping again, it is being...
Although that's station number 1 that went up
That was the Stettler station, yes.
that went up to the top.
But we have seen delays on things like snow plows, fire trucks, some of the larger equipment. But this one apparently is already being assembled in Quebec, so we are set for a November delivery, hopefully. So.
All right on. And do you want to just go over the potential development in the north of town? The Alberta piece of land?
Yeah, so council's approved a request for proposals on a 10-acre parcel of land on the north side of town. They're looking for a residential developer for the piece that's nicknamed the Alberta piece just because of the shape of it from overhead. Preparing the site, the town estimates will cost an estimated $3 million to install water, sewer, and utility lines, and a chosen developer would oversee that construction, with the aim of council being to build more rental housing in the community.
Well, big thing when the new government in town was elected, that it was find housing development and people to come in and help build rental houses and new developments like that. So it's good to see that the ball is rolling that way.
No, you only have to look on your Stettler Connections or any online posting to see people often looking for a place in town and struggling to find that.
Yeah,
So.
and there's not a lot of houses for sale either.
No.
So, yeah, good to see that they're working on that. You can find all your local stories on hometownmediastettler.ca. Let's just take a quick look at some of those that were posted. Landon, I see the local paramedics were honored. There's another defibrillator, I pronounced that correctly, was installed in Castor, so you can head to Hometown Media Stettler for those stories. What were you covering as far as that? Let's start with the local paramedics.
Yeah, our local paramedics were recognized there provincially for their work in recent years with Stettler's physician shortage. The group were the recipients of this year's Rhapsody Award, recognizing their service for stepping up for the community and surrounding area since the COVID pandemic. Upon accepting the award, the association extended their thanks to their board members for their lobbying efforts with the province against contracting the service out to another provider. It was something we'd been hearing potential word of, which was adding to the workplace stress and pressures for our local paramedics. But they did receive word that their contract's in place through 2037, so some stability for our local paramedics to keep working on what they do.
Mm-hmm. And in healthcare, cool that they added another public defibrillator. I have to stop saying that word because I'm going to screw it up one of these times.
It's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it?
But cool that they added one of those, another one in Castor, a public one for people to use.
Yeah, I had a chance to head out to Castor to cover a story that's been in the works for a few years. A couple there lost their young daughter Emily a few years ago to an unknown heart condition. The family since made it their mission to install publicly accessible defibrillators around Paintearth County. It's a very touching way to remember a loved one with a good cause behind it. And thanks to the Lougheed family for having us out that day to cover the story. Something we thought would be a good initiative to highlight for our area with all the work being done to improve healthcare access here in East Central Alberta. So yeah, check out our YouTube video to watch the full video.
I'm curious, did they ever mention how many people they've had to use these public AEDs on?
No, I didn't actually hear a stat on that. No.
I would be interested to know. I mean, they're great to have there and you don't want to use them.
No, you never do,
But I would be curious to see like how many people it has helped.
But behind the scenes, a lot of work just from the electricians that have helped him out, the concrete workers to install these concrete pads. It's quite the initiative. So
And where was the new one again? Where'd they put it?
just outside Gus Wetter,
Oh, okay.
in Castor there.
Yeah.
So
Right on. And if you didn't know, some places in town have public ones too, like the community hall. It's not right out in the open, but there's a room that there is a defibrillator in.
yes, the rec center as well there.
Yeah.
So
Okay. A recap of some events as well, because Landon, we haven't been on the show for a few weeks. Like you mentioned, we've been pretty busy with some video work and everything like that, so we kind of had to keep pushing back the podcasts, in which we try to do every 2 weeks, but it's been 3.
it's been 3.
Give or take. We had our radio launch. As you can see, Landon and I were both thinking the same thing. It was not planned.
Nope.
We had our launch party, and we have officially created an online radio station called Heartland Radio Stettler with news, sports, weather, and we keep adding more and more things, obviously, and a nice blend of rock and roll and country music and some local artists as well. So it's great that we've had people tuning in to that, and hopefully in the near future as well, we can get some school info in there. Maybe some kids can do a school report or something like that. We'd love to do something like that in the near future. But great event. We had hot dogs and burgers from Monte Carlo. We had some other things, pop and chips and stuff from Sobeys. And thanks to those guys for helping out our cause. And I think we had about 50 people come and share our barbecue with us.
Oh, I'd say at least 50 to 75. And again, thank you to everybody that did come out. It's great to see the local support. And, I hope it's something we can do in the future again there. So
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't mind making it an annual thing, or at least, every once in a while. We also had the HYC Big Brothers Big Sisters Awesome Auction that raised over $90,000. So that's great to see. I was playing security there. I volunteered and
keeping the riffraff out.
Keeping the people from bringing their drinks outside is tougher than you would think.
I bet it is.
It's like, you can't bring it outside. Hell, I can't. It's like, not that. It's my one job, guy. Like, I had one job. That's what they said. Just don't let them bring their drinks outside. And yeah. So,
Somebody distracted you. Well, 3 people took
yeah,
them
they
out.
just like walk outside. Either way, so it was a great event. It looked like everyone had fun, and they raised a lot of money as well. There was the kin convention. That doesn't happen very often in our community. So great to see. How many people were there? A couple hundred Kinets and kinsmen.
Oh, looking at that drone photo of them all at the rec center there, I would say, yeah, at least 100 people. Shout out to them too. They gathered 612 pounds of food for the Stettler Food Bank.
Yeah,
So
very
that
cool.
is good on them. So.
Yeah, so some big things recently in the community for people stepping up and, doing their thing for our town, and some more things coming up in the future as well. It's a busy time of year with Canada Day coming up as well. Music in the Park starts right away here.
That's tomorrow.
June 24th, the Jazz Guys. It's a tradition here in town that the Jazz Guys are the first ones to perform at West Stettler Park at the gazebo. So bring your lawn chair down and check out the show at 7 p.m. And then Canada Day, there's the festivities, and there's a lot. There's the town pancake breakfast, and that'll be at the community hall. There's the parade at 10 a.m., and we will be live streaming the parade. So if you can't make it down to Main Street or along the route, then make sure to tune in to our YouTube channel and on Facebook. We'll have that live streamed. There's free lunch and cookies at the museum from 11 to 2. There's free admission to the museum, so you can mini golf. You can go. The kids can bounce on the castles. There's going to be a puppet show, face painting, bingo, button making, outdoor games, and more. So lots to do for the daytime for Canada Day. And then, of course, the evening performance by Supersonic at West Stettler Park, and there will be fireworks too.
Yeah,
So-
you gotta always take in the fireworks show. I think it's just the perfect way to cap off a Canada Day.
Yeah. Also, a birthday at the rec center for the pool. It's turning 20, Landon.
20 years old. Eh?
That's right. So 20 years of the rec center pool, and they will have hot dogs, cookies, and juice, and it's a free swim from 1:30 to 3:30. Children less than 9 years old must be accompanied by an adult. If you have an event that you'd like to have included in the podcast, contact info@htproductionsmedia.ca. You can always drop by the office and bring us a poster. Anything else you want to mention? You're watching the World Cup. We should probably mention that quickly.
I do have soccer fever at the moment.
Am I allowed to say World Cup, or is it the big tournament?
Well, I don't think you're a competing sponsor,
Okay.
so I think I don't think we're quite at that level.
They always told us in the radio, we're not allowed to say Super Bowl, or we're not allowed to say this, or we're not allowed to say that.
If you're working on a competing network.
Yeah. Okay. Either way,
Have you caught the soccer fever?
I've watched. I've never had soccer fever.
Ah.
I don't think I ever will. But I will say, as a relatively patriotic guy myself, I do find it very cool seeing the country, with the flags and everyone's wearing red. It's like a sea of red in Vancouver as they're marching down the street to the game. And the fact that the Canadian team is being very successful too, currently.
Well, we've never got a win in a World Cup until this tournament.
Yeah.
So
And that was a butt kicking too.
it
Was it 6-1?
believe something like that against
Like
Qatar there.
Soccer never gets there. It's like 1-0. What a big match.
Ooh.
Either way, yeah. So a couple of hat tricks, I think, and it's just been interesting tournament so far, and cool that it's in the United States of America and in Canada, so we actually get to watch it when it's a normal time of day, which is always nice, because normally when it's across, it's other parts of the world, it starts at 3 a.m., starts at whatever time, and usually Canada's not in it anyway, so just cool to see a BC place in Vancouver just packed to the brim of Canadian fans, and it must have been quite the atmosphere there when they scored those goals.
No, I would think so. I kind of wish I was out there because I am feeling the soccer fever right now. So
And yeah, you're even logged in on what, FIFA video game?
yeah, I've been playing as a manager.
Yeah.
Just not even playing the game, but just standing on the sidelines, watching how my boys do, learning the difference between a center defensive middle and a center attacking middle.
I don't know what you just said there. I still don't understand offside in soccer, personally.
I'm coming to understand it. It's basically you can't be behind the attacker behind the goalie. You can only have one person offside, and so don't be behind the goaltender with the ball.
Sounds good. I don't know. I'll never understand it. It's like my wife with offside in hockey. I'm like, the puck can't go in after the players. So, sure, whatever you say.
Basically. You got
Yeah,
her.
there's probably the same idea there. But yeah, cool to see that Canada is having a relatively successful tournament thus far, and it'd be great to see that continue. And looking forward to catching a few more minutes of soccer in the next day or two. I think they play tomorrow.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll be it for this Heartbeat for June 23rd. Make sure to visit hometownmediastettler.ca for more on these stories. And whether it's here on Facebook or Spotify or wherever you're catching our show, thanks for watching. We really do appreciate it. And thanks to Josh for coming in the beginning of the show to talk about the graduation for 2026. Unfortunately, we had a little technical issue at the beginning of the show, but we'll have that re-uploaded and you'll be able to see me and Josh talk about the 2026 grad. I'm Alex Mykyta, that's Landin Chambers, and that has been the Heartbeat Podcast, episode number 10.